Okay, in the past video we set up the basic settings for facade number 1, and now we're gonna have a look at the automation settings. Earlier we already said yes, we want to use the sun protection automation. Firstly, you can separate your facade into different ranges. So for example, if you have a neighboring building that is casting shadow on your building but only up to a certain height, then it is recommended to separate the facade, for example, into 2 ranges. For the sake of simplicity, we're just gonna remain with 1 range per facade in this example. Next up, we have the direction of the sun. The default value is all directions. Since here in this example, we only want to configure the south facade, we only trigger the direction of the sun south. How does this work? We have a GPS module in our weather station that can calculate the direction and the position of the sun according to the orientation of the sensors. This leads to that only if the lux value or if the sun is coming from the side that you want to shade, that actually this side is retracted. Next up, you can also have changed the position, like the height of the sun. You can take this into account also, for example, also if you have neighboring buildings or if you have some trees that cast shadow over the building, because if there's already shadow, you don't want your blinds to go down so you have no extra need for artificial sunlight. Next up, you have the brightness sensor selection, in which we can either use the internal sensors, which is then calculated the maximum value of our 5 integrated brightness sensors, or you can use it via a communication object from another brightness sensor. For this case, we're going to remain with the internal sensors. Next up, we can preset the threshold value for the brightness either with the parameter or with the communication object. So if you want to change the threshold value for brightness via a visualization, then you will need to use the communication object. In this example, we're going to remain with the parameter setting. Here we can set our threshold with 60 kilolux. This seems pretty good. Also, we can set the hysteresis here with 30%. Seems also good as the default value. Next up, we also have another really cool feature. This is considered travel delays, and that helps to make a very calm picture on the facade. So just a very small little use case. You have a big cloud moving past the building that you would like to shade, and this cloud is casting shadow and bringing the lux value down. This lux value has to be undershot by more than 10 seconds, otherwise no movement will happen. This helps if only a cloud is moving past, that your blinds are not moving or just the slats are moving, for example. In the next setting, you can also set the outdoor temperature block, but it's not really interesting for this use case because we just want to discuss the solar protection. Okay, now that we're done with our settings for the sun protection, we can have a look at the group objects and connect them accordingly. Since our Suntracer Pro KNX has quite an advanced parameter structure, it's quite handy to use the filter we were using with the facade 1 earlier, so we can filter according to that. First up, we're gonna drag and drop the movement position to the movement position of our actuator, and we're gonna take the slat position and also drag and drop them onto the facade south slat position. And that's all we gotta do for connecting the group objects.